What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Toybiz Urban Legends Spider-Man, or the Triple Threat Spider-Man in this case. Alright, man, so let's get into full review, man. First off, super dope figure. Like I mentioned in the first look, there were several releases of this guy, so, this was the Triple Threat Spider-Man that we got with the little helicopter gimmick. And then there was also a release called the Sneak Attack Spider-Man, which is the exact same figure as far as I can tell. And then that one I think came with like a little door or like a brick wall, some kind of like base feature with it. And then there was also a box set, a Urban Legends box set that had him and the Punisher and Elektra. So yeah, it was like a 3-figure box set back in the day. The box for it looked awesome. I would have loved getting, maybe that triple pack. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll come across it for a good price. But yeah, it looks super cool. But yeah, this guy also came in that set as well. But yeah, this is one of the single carded releases of him, known as the Triple Threat Spider-Man. And why is he the Triple Threat Spider-Man? Well, because his gimmick. I'll show you. Let's see, should I get him rotating first? Yeah, let me get him rotating first, and then I'll show you his gimmick and why they called him the Triple Threat Spider-Man. Alright, so, you see I got him in a nice, cool little web flipping pose, like he's, flipping at the camera. Hopefully you guys are able to see his hand here. But yeah, the hand in front of him, like he's shooting the web at the camera. Alright, so I wanted to get something a little picturesque, photo-worthy to start off the review. Let's go ahead and put him on the rotating display base and get a better look at him. Alright. But yeah, this is a really fantastic figure, man. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like I mentioned, I had like no real desire to pick up this figure at all. The first person I ever really saw, I think, review it was Anthony's Customs. I think he actually reviewed it twice. I don't know if maybe he got like a different version the second time he reviewed it, but as far as I could tell, it was like the exact same figure. Maybe it was just like a different release when he reviewed it the second time around, but he actually does have like 2 reviews of it on his channel from back in the day. And he's used it in the Spider-Man comparative reviews that he's done, where he compares like basically all the like 6-inch Spider-Man figures. Not all of them, but like most of them. He reviews like, he goes way back to like some of the first figures up until modern day Marvel Legends. Really, really dope stuff. Maybe I'll put a link to that in the description so you guys can check it out. But yeah, like overall, I never really had a desire to even own this guy, just because I wasn't a huge fan of like the look, especially like the overall like head shape, and and obviously like the proportions on him are kind of odd, as you'll see here right now. But honestly, after getting him out the package, man, he really did grow on me, and I've had a lot of fun playing with them, posing him around. And he is he definitely able to hit a lot more poses than I thought he'd be able to, so that's really great to see. But let's get him spinning here. So yeah, here is your Urban Legends Triple Threat Spider-Man. And yeah, obviously, as you can see, his proportions are a little wonky. You can see right off the bat, he's got very like bulbous, round shoulders. The arms, he's definitely like a slimmer Spider-Man, so he's got like pretty long arms. I mean, his hands literally come down almost all the way to his knees. So his proportions might not be for everybody aesthetically, but honestly, I don't mind it. It's actually kind of grown on me, and then when you have him posed up, he looks absolutely fantastic anyway, so you're gonna forget about that stuff. But just overall, he does have a really nice look. I like the choice of red and blue that they went with. It's very classic. I remember Anthony saying in his review that this is like the Spider-Man that Toybiz made that most resembles like the 90s series. And yeah, I guess that's true. I guess especially when it comes to like the head sculpt, I think that's definitely kind of what they drew inspiration from, for sure. And just like the overall like costume, how it looks, like the layout, how they did like the spider symbols, and the overall color of red and blue that they chose. He's done in a very like purpley blue. It's a pretty dark blue, and the same goes for the red. I mean, the red, it's weird. His colors are like vibrant, but they're also pretty dark. So if that makes sense. The red is like Definitely a darker shade of red. I do like it. I think it would look even better if the red was like a little bit brighter, like in kind of, let's see, where is that figure? I think if it was done kind of more with this red, the red on this Spider-Sense Spider-Man, I think it would look even better. I do like this. This red is a little bit brighter, a little more vibrant, but I just think it would go like really well with the blue that's on this one. But that's just my opinion. I do still like the red and blue that's on him already a lot, and yeah, it's just a really, really nice figure, man. So we'll get him coming around here one more time, and then we'll take him off. We'll take a look at his gimmick real quick, and then we'll get a closer look at him. So let's get him stopping right there. Oh yeah, nice and centered. All right, so let's take him off. Move this out the way. All right, so let's talk about the gimmick real quick. So I'm gonna put him to the side over here, and I'm gonna show you why he's called the Triple Threat Spider-Man. So as I mentioned, he does come with this helicopter little gimmick thing, and it's a nice piece, man. Really nice paintwork on it. Let's get a closer look at that real quick. So you can see it's got all these like monster claw looking things on each side. It's kind of like, looks like hands or, you know, monster legs coming out, and it's very nicely painted. You can see it's got like black wash going throughout the reds of the legs, and then the silver paint for like the kind of claws is really nice sculpt on all of them. And then you have the base of the helicopter piece, which is basically just done in all blue. It's molded in blue plastic. You got some nice red little tube pieces here on the back. That looks pretty cool. And then there's actually like a little knob, kind of looks like a gear back here that like rotates, but that actually is the play feature. So you can see he's got these red little propeller things. There's 3 of them that you plug in. So like in the package they come, you know, by themselves, but you take them out, you plug them into all these points at the top of the helicopter, and then the play feature, the gimmick, is basically you pull this little gear and it kind of winds up all these propellers, and then you let it go, and you know, obviously they spin, and kind of makes it look like Spidey's flying. So yeah, you would plug Spidey into here. I didn't want to do it for the review just because the paint on him is so nice, and I don't want to risk you know, scratching it or getting any paint rub. But yeah, you would basically kind of, these are like somewhat soft pieces, so you can kind of like stretch them to get Spidey in there, because how it is right now, he's not going to fit very well. So you would have to like kind of push these apart, unless maybe you put him in sideways. But eventually, somehow, you know, you would want to get him in there and like have these arms basically wrapped around his body, and then you would have all those little propellers, and yeah, just pull the string out and basically kind of make him look like he's flying around. So that's a pretty cool gimmick. Nice gimmick from Toybiz, very creative. Obviously not something that we, you know, ever saw, I think, in any of the shows or anything, but it's a nice creative little piece to have if you want to display him with that. So yeah, that is his little gimmick. But you guys know I'm not here so much for the gimmick. I am here for the dope Spidey figure that we got. And here he is up close. Alright, so yes, Urban Legend Spider-Man. And yeah, man, like this figure really grew on me. Just like the overall look of it. It is one of the skinnier builds of Spider-Man, which I like. It's kind of like lanky. And that'll be like one of the main differences when it comes to like comparing this one to the 90s animated one. You know, that Spider-Man in the show was like very buff. Like that's probably like the buffest Spider-Man that we've ever seen, at least in animated form. This guy, even though he does have like the overall look of that 90s series, his build is definitely more like, you know, lanky and slim. He's definitely more of the lean kind of build. But I like it. And again, I think the colors of red and blue on him are very nice. Everything is painted on, as you can see, so nothing is sculpted as far as like the web lines or anything. But the paint is so clean. Like the deco on him is just came out so clean that it really doesn't bother me. I actually like how it looks on this figure. It's definitely more of a glossy figure. It's got more of a glossy finish than most of the figures that we would see nowadays. But you know, this is back in the days. Older figure. A lot of the plastics used back then had a more glossy look anyways. But I just want to say the quality of the plastic that they use is really, really good. I love it. it seems like it's made of like it's like a hard but smooth PVC that I want to say he's made out of, and it feels very durable. Like his joints were surprisingly tight. Right out of the box, I thought they were going to be kind of loose because this is an older figure and a lot of their joints tend to get loose quickly. But no, his joints were very tight. I mean, like his shoulders and his arms, the legs, everything was pretty tight, and it just felt good to move around when I got him out of the box. So yeah, he looks great, man. Love the details on him. So let's get a closer look at the head sculpt real quick. Yeah, this is like, it's kind of a funky shape for the head, but I do like it a lot. He kind of has like an alien shaped head, especially from the side. You can see that he's got like a very angular jaw, and then like his head just kind of swoops back into like an oval shape. Kind of just looks like a sack or something. but yeah, it honestly kind of grew on me. It's a very like unique look, and I do like the big eyes. I'm a fan of like usually the bigger eyes when it comes to Spider-Man, unless he's like squinting or concentrating or looking angry. Then obviously you can make them look more angular and sharp. But I always prefer, like as a default, like the wider eyes for Spider-Man for the lenses. I always think that has like a better look, more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, if you will. But yeah, and I like the fact that all of the paint on mine pretty much came out clean. I've seen other reviews, and I know some people said that sometimes, it seemed like a lot of reviews, they were saying that it was like a standard problem that his head would be kind of crooked, like right out of the package. It would always be like kind of like at an angle, like kind of leaning to one side, I think like the right side, they said. And then I know some people had like paint issues, so like the webbing wouldn't line up right all the way for like his head, especially like in the back. But I'm pleased to report on mine that I don't have that issue. All the web lines seem to line up pretty much perfectly everywhere, and it's very clean, as you can see, and the deco is like nice and clean. The black came out looking really nice against the red there, very noticeable. And yeah, sometimes like they would like the lines would kind of mismatch around like his back right here, but mine seems to be pretty clean pretty much all the way around, as well as like the arms and whatnot. Some focus on that, there we go. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased to report that I don't really have any of those like paint issues on mine, and the joints felt really great right out of the box. So yeah, you can see that nice sharp paint work pretty much all the way around for this figure. I saw one guy's review, his this like little underpants or like belt piece right here, the paint was really off. Like the lines were all messed up, and the red was just kind of like really off center, and it was just kind of like bleeding onto the blue, and the lines were just way off. So thankful that didn't happen to mine. But yeah, and like I said, I got this guy at Frankenson's, and that's one of the things, man. I noticed that sometimes like you can see a figure in like reviews or like out and about, and you'll think it might not appeal to you, and you just might not like the overall look of it and have no desire to own it. But when you see it in person, like sometimes everything changes, and that was the case with this guy. Sometimes it's really just like the presentation of the figure in the package, because I noticed that when I saw this guy at Frankenson's, in the box, brand new, there was just something about it. I guess the style of the box and how he was presented to me. I like immediately just wanted to pick him up. I was like, dang, like he looks cooler than I thought he would in person, and I'm very glad that I made the choice not to pass up on this guy, because I almost did. I got some other figures at Frankenson's that day, and I was considering passing him up, but I'm glad I decided to go ahead and actually get him. And yeah, he is a very, very fun figure, man. So let's go ahead and get into play and display. All right. So he's got some great articulation, especially for being such an old figure. So we'll start with the head, of course. He does like have a hinge in the neck, so you're able to look up very nicely. He can look up really far. I love that. He can look down very nice as well. That looks real good. Basically tuck his chin in, right? Gets a full 360 like that. No real leaning or anything like that. This isn't really like the type of ball peg back then that would like lean. It might be like a disc hinge under here, or like something some kind of like peg or something that doesn't really allow any tilting side to side, but that's okay. At least he gets the full 360, and you can still get his head looking at, you know, somewhat angles, like for instance like that from the side. Like maybe you want him in a swinging pose, you can still kind of angle the head in certain ways where, you know, he doesn't have to have like his head completely straight or something to make him a little more styled or expressive. So that's pretty cool. He does have ball hinge shoulders, so they you can clearly see the hinge, you know, on the side. This is one of those older style figures, so they didn't really do much to hide the hinges or anything. But what I like about that is that he gets extreme range when it comes to lifting his arms. I mean, he can lift them pretty much perfectly straight up, like in a perfect straight line over his head like that. So he gets plenty of range. All right, obviously back down to his sides, and he can rotate at the shoulder, right? He can get a full windmill 360, and that, like I said, that ball joint is nice and tight, so you know it's almost like hard to even get it to spin, but I'd rather it be tight than loose, so that's good. He does actually have butterfly joints too, kind of similar to the McFarlane Spider-Man, so you can, let's see, going back first, and it is a pretty tight butterfly joint, but you can move it back, and it is pretty nicely sculpted into like his back muscles, so there's not like too much cut up or separation that, you know, would look kind of ugly. So that's nice to see. But yeah, he does have a butterfly joint that allows the arm to go pretty nice, pretty far back, like so. So that's pretty cool. Butterfly joint on both sides, works very nice. Let's try it with this arm. There you go. So you can have him in some nice free falling poses with his arms behind his back, and coming forward with the butterfly joint, you can get, kind of manipulate this ball hinge. But yeah, you can get his arms coming in front of him pretty decently too. So if you want him doing some web swinging poses, if you bend the elbows, you can get it, you know, even farther across his chest, so that looks good as well. So yeah, really nice range, nice butterfly joint, and it is pretty tight, and overall pretty seamless like the McFarlane Spider-Man, so I'm very happy about that. Great job on Toybiz's part. You have a nice bicep swivel, so you got a nice bicep swivel cut in there. All right, nice bicep rotation. You do have double jointed elbows, which allows for some great bend, about as good if not better than the Mafex Gwen we just looked at, Spider Gwen. So you can bend really far back, basically touch his own shoulders and everything like that. So that looks great. He's got a swivel in the forearm, so you can rotate the hand and the forearm, full 360. He doesn't have any like rotation in the hand itself, but like I said, you can just swivel the forearm if you want to turn the hand. And then he does have his two middle fingers on a hinge so that you can get him into the flipping pose. All right, so let me try to manipulate that. And it is a tight hinge, but yeah, you can get him into that flipping pose, and it does have a hinge that moves up and down so that you can angle his hand a little more. If you want him shooting his web a little more up or a little more down, it does have a hinge to kind of angle the hand. So that looks awesome. All right, and for his torso articulation, that's on both sides, by the way, for both hands, so you can curl the, you know, the middle fingers in and have him doing flips on both sides. And then he does have a ab crunch joint, which is very nicely hidden into like the sculpt, into this kind of web pattern of his costume down here. But yeah, you can crunch him forward very nicely like that, pretty far back like that a whole lot. That's some pretty nice range. It also doesn't look ugly when you bend them backwards. They rounded off the joint right here very nicely, so it really just blends into like the muscles of like his abs and whatnot. And so I love the sculpt on the side right here, like the serratus muscles and the obliques and like his lats right here. That looks really good. Love the sculpt on this. Very organic looking. And he does have a waist twist, and I like that, you know, it doesn't stick out like, you know, in any weird way or anything. It's pretty seamless, but he does have a waist twist cut down here so that you can rotate him side to side. So he does have waist twist. You can go a full 360 if you want. And you know, obviously he would have had more range if he had like the double ball peg set up. So like up here you would be able to wiggle him around. Obviously he doesn't have that, so you can't like lean him side to side or anything. You can't like wiggle it, but I do like the combination of this ab crunch joint with the waist twist, because you are able to still get him into some really nice dynamic poses, like crouching and like superhero landing poses, things like that. And then he has the what might be like low key my favorite setup for the legs, especially at least like with these older figures, is like the ball and the hinge, kind of like a, I guess, is this a Y or like a T joint? But either way, it basically gets the same range that the McFarlane Spider-Man could get. So you can lift his legs up a full 90 degrees like that, kicking forward, kicks back that far before running into the sculpt. And like I said, it is a hard plastic, so it's not going to really flex any, but you can also get perfect splits out to the side because of the shape of the ball, and there's no hindrance. And honestly, I kind of wish Hasbro would do this again, because it's ridiculous that most of their Spider-Man figures nowadays can't even get anywhere near perfect splits. They get like, you know, they're like far away from perfect splits, and this one can get literally like a perfect line straight out to the side, so that's great. That's because of the, you know, the shape of the ball and the hinges on the side, so it really allows for that movement already. And then you also have a thigh swivel cut up here, so you can swivel at the thigh. Really nice. You have a double jointed knees that allow him to kick very far back. Great range there. Believe it or not, you actually have a boot swivel, and it is like so seamless. It's like perfectly in line with the rest of his leg. You wouldn't even know it was there. But I think it was Anthony's Customs review that I was watching when he revealed that it does have a boot swivel. So it was pretty tight. At first I thought it wasn't going to turn, but yeah, I was able to free it up. So he does have a swivel at the, you know, red part of the boot. And he has a hinge in the foot. Goes all the way down, or like all the way back like that. So focus on that. There you go. And it kicks up that far. Okay. Nice range kicking up. He does have just the slightest bit of ankle rocker or pivot in there. All right, a little weep, 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 side to side. And he also has a toe joint, which allows the toes to go up just a little bit like that. Can help him balance in certain poses, and it flattens out again. And yeah, that's pretty much all his articulation. He is a very nicely articulated figure, so I'm very happy about that, especially for, you know, its time. And, you know, despite the kind of odd look, I really do enjoy this figure a whole lot, man. Just the overall look of it. I'm so glad that the paint on mine came out clean, and it's just a really nice figure, man. It poses great. It feels great in hand. It's made of like a very durable PVC plastic. You know, he's got some nice weight to him despite how thin he is. And but yeah, he just looks amazing. I wonder what this guy would look like, honestly, with like a matte finish. Maybe like if you were to spray like a matte, put a matte spray on him, he might look even better. But my one like maybe gripe with this figure, major gripe, is the spider symbol on the back. It's very faded. You can barely see it against the blue, the dark blue on his back. And a lot of people were saying that they use like a duller red like than the rest of the costume for his back. I don't think that's technically the case. I think they use the same red, but they just didn't put enough layers on it. They probably just used like maybe one coat against like this dark blue, so it really doesn't stand out very much. It doesn't blend in. I think I'm gonna customize this. I'm gonna end up, you know, using my own red paint to make this a little bit brighter, so that it'll stand out, because that is kind of bothering me. But the sculpt for his back looks really nice as well, and just the overall musculature of like his entire physique looks really nice. Love how they sculpted the back muscles as well as like the torso, like his abs and chest and everything. It's a really nice Spider-Man figure. I highly recommend it if you can find it. Hopefully loose. You know, I saw some on like Mercari. I'm sure there's some on eBay that you can get. Unless you really want it, you know, brand new, unless you really want that gimmick that comes with him, I would highly suggest, you know, picking them up loose, because you'll find them a lot cheaper. But yeah, a really great Spider-Man figure. And I know that Danny Elias, I saw his review. I know he mentioned that this figure kind of reminded him of the Nintendo Spider-Man, like the one from the 2000s game that we just looked at, and I could kind of see that, but if anything, I feel like the McFarlane Toybiz Spider-Man has more of a resemblance to that Nintendo or that game Spider-Man, but that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, man. At least like the red and blues, I would say maybe have a resemblance to it, so that's cool. But yeah, really dope figure. Highly recommend it if you can find it. And let's go ahead and get into some size comparisons. With all that said, all right. So first up, we'll get him with the Marvel Legends Mysterio retro card that we looked at not long ago. And here he is with the, I call it the Alex Ross Spider-Man. I forget exactly which one this one was called, but it is Toybiz. Alright, and you can see that he scales really nicely with the two of them, so I like that. That looks really nice. Let's go ahead and get him with both of the McFarlane Spider-Man. So we have batch 2 right here in the slightly brighter colors, and the original batch 1 version right here. Two McFarlane Spider-Mans with Mr. Urban Legends here. Love how these guys look. You can clearly see like the differences in the reds and the blues. I think I actually prefer the reds and blues on this one the most, but yeah, you can see the differences there, so that's great. All right, let's get him with the Sinister Six box set Green Goblin from Toybiz, and the Toybiz movie Human Torch right here. All right, I think those look very nice. He scales very nicely with the two of them as well. Excellent. And moving on, let's get him with the Marvel Legends Tombstone and the just looked at Mafex Into the Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen. I like that. Tombstone's got some nice height over him. Big tombstone. Gwen scales pretty nicely too. She's not too much shorter than him, so that looks good. Alright. And next up we have, let's bring in a black series. A couple black series. We got Cobb Vanth Deluxe and Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka. That looks good to me. Nice. Moving right along from Mafex, we got Comic Daredevil and the Homecoming Spider-Man. Alright, so there is those two, looking very good. Like it a bunch. And with some, we'll get him with SH Figure Arts Maul and another Spider-Man. We have the Spider-Sense Spider-Man right there. Looks real good. Alright, and we have the Spectacular Spider-Man, the black suit webbed version, as well as the red and blue true. Alright, so that looks good as well. So yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna do it, guys. Here he is real quick with the Marvel Legends Retro Gwen Stacy. And yeah, love it. So thank you guys so much for watching the review. I'll have links to some other reviews in the description. And if you like the video, please comment, like, and share.